hospital. I worked there for many years. I'm very proud of it, and a lot of people here in the surrounding community, I know a lot of people totally agree with this, that it should be made into a long service for older people. And
you have to hold it close.
There's a lot of people I know who aren't here tonight who totally agree with this, and that it should be made into a place for older people who need a place to go. And also they were talking about the 2nd Street site at one time was definitely supposed to be the acute care site. And I know somebody personally who is a cousin of my husband who was on the board at the General and did not know that it had been switched over to the other site until it was in the paper the next morning. That's real communication.
And at 16 years old, I worked in the very first nursing home in Cornwall, and it was called St. Paul's Home. There were 18 men in one room on cots, and the ladies were upstairs and about the same weight. Their children didn't want them, they had no place to go, so they stayed there. So they all ate in a big dining room all together, no entertainment, no TV, no nothing. When that was closed, I went to work at TCF, then St. Josephsville opened up. I worked in the old part for 15 years. Then they knocked that down, they put the new part, but my mother stayed there for 9 years. My Aunt Aurora, I think, has been there 19 years, and now my Aunt Rita is there. They're full to capacity, and well, I'm getting up in age too. I'm over 70, and I've been to Ottawa 21 trips in a year and a half, once by helicopter, and I might have to sell my home and go into a nursing home too. But I don't want to have to wait 10 years to do it. It's soon enough that I'm going to have to make up my mind to sell my home and go into one. As far as the General Hospital, I hope it stays open too. But just getting a bed is not what I want. I see what goes on at the other places, entertainment, your family can come in and eat your meals with you and stuff like that. I mean, just getting a bed and laying down. I can do that at home and have somebody pay them to come and see me. I want to have a little bit of entertainment. I want to be able to eat with my family, my cousins or whatnot, but not just the bed. I was in there. I just didn't come here. I went around, looked around. I agree with him. It's going to cost not just $2 million for that place. It's going to have to be fixed so the people that are staying there, they're not dying. They're going to want to get dressed, get up, go around, have their family come in. They need room for entertainment, room to meet with their families, special rooms to watch TV, not just lay in their bed with a chair beside their bed. That's enough to kill them in a couple of months. So, but it can be fixed, I imagine, but it's going to cost more than $2 million. So if you're going to buy it and just leave it the way it is and shove somebody in a room like as if when you're going for an operation or something, that'll kill them, that'll break their hearts. They need to be welcome and they need to feel like as if they're not completely useless. They're going to have entertainment and be able to go out, and their family's going to have to be able to take them out. It doesn't make any sense. But you have to think of that also. It has to be fixed up properly. So those people, hey, I've worked 58 years of my life, and I don't want to have to go into a room and just lie down there and die. I want to be able to do a little bit of stuff. I ain't dead yet, I'm getting there, but I'm not dead yet. So if they're going to do it, they're going to have to do it right. They're going to have a place where we can eat with our families, just like every other place. And that's all I have to say, but it makes sense to me.
Revad. And I represent a citizen of Cornwall, but also I've had the pleasure of working with a project that I did a few years back called Goodbye It's Here, which are raising community awareness for the importance of having localized cancer treatments here in Cornwall. I'd like to just share with you a personal story. Back in 2008, my father-in-law was diagnosed with diabetes. And both my wife and I at the time were in the transition of taking him from Edward Street to a long-term care facility. And I'll never forget the day that we received the call, and both my wife and I had to make a decision, knowing far too well that my father-in-law's last couple of months with us was going to have to be spent very close because my wife is an only child. Having the opportunity to see her father gracefully and with dignity pass on as close as possible to his family members. But when we received the call saying that the only bed that was available was actually in Alfred, and we had to make that decision because that was the only subsidized bed that was available because of his financial situation, I fought hell to high water to make sure that that would not happen. In my experience in doing Project Goodbye It's Here, I've met a lot of senior citizens and a lot of veterans who have sacrificed during many wars. And they deserve the dignity and also the respect in their later years to have the proper care and services. They've paid the ultimate price. They are the reason why we are here today. And I echo Councillor Rivette and a lot of the other members of the city administration that's here, as well as the veterans, to say, you know what? These citizens deserve the respect. It's not about $2 million. It's not about $60 million. It's about the government stepping forward, working in a collaborative fashion with the LINs, with city administration, with the federal government, and making sure that we have the long-term beds that are needed to let these senior citizens, not only of today and tomorrow, the opportunity and the dignity that they deserve. I know far too well, ladies and gentlemen, my grandmother is a recipient of the Sister Colby Award after dedicating several years of her life at the St. Joseph's Villa, and my mother recently retiring approximately 10 years ago, having worked in the healthcare system. So there's nobody that'll tell me from when I was growing up, very young, to very old, to where I am at 41 years old, the importance to having quality care, because this will be my 3rd generation, and actually my 4th generation, because my daughter wants to go into it as well. So I want to make sure that she too has that opportunity. And if this community does not stand, just as they did back to the veterans, just as they do for various organizations like the Royal Canadian Air Force Wing here this evening, the Legion, and so on and forth, if they do not come forward and voice this, we're going to have a community, unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, that's passive. And this is far from being passive. I can assure you of that. I've been a very long-term care resident here. I'm a very, very strong believer that this community, when there's a call to action, just as Jamie Clegg said a couple of minutes ago, we can step up, we can come together, and we can do it. The only thing I'd like to say in conclusion, I'm very disappointed because I know that the city of the, not the city I should say, but the members of the Cornwall Community Hospital, as well, might I add, a lot of you people here sitting this evening are contributing to the Cornwall Community Hospital Foundation as well. And I do not see one of those members here to voice their opinion on what they themselves want to see later on down the road as well. Thank you very much.